Hi there. So recently I've noticed a lot of AI generated shorts on YouTube. And in today's video, I would like to contribute to this atrocity by creating my own AI generated YouTube short generator. So basically the idea is that we could take some news article or really any source material and feed it to this program, and it would then use the ChatGPT API to generate the script for the narration of the short. And then we could use the OpenAI text-to-speech API, or maybe 11 Labs, to actually generate the narration voice. And then, finally, we could even use the DALL-E 3 API to generate some background images that we can then fade in the background as the voice is talking. And then maybe we can even show the transcript of the short while the narrator is talking. So let's get started. Let's start by creating the script generator. Now, this is either going to be really simple or very complicated. Let's see. I will just call this script.py right now. And let's import the OpenAI client first. And then let's just create a chat completion. And let's use the model GPT 3.5 Turbo. I think that should be enough for this. And what kind of prompt are we going to add? Well, at least we need a system message. And let's just say you are a YouTube short narration generator. And I guess we can just start with that. And of course, this should be role system. And then the content is going to be this. And let's just add a user message here. And let's just say something like, create a YouTube short narration based on the following source material. And then let's put some new lines and let's actually add here the source material. And let's read it from a file. So let's say up here with open source material dot text as f. Source material equals f.read. And then let's just print out the response that we get. So we'll print response choices 0 message content. And let's get some source material. So let's create a file, source material. And what should we put in here? Let's search for some news. And what is happening in the world right now? All right, I found an article that is just the type of article that you would see in a YouTube short. So let's copy this thing and just paste it in here. And how does this look like? It looks pretty nice. I actually didn't read the article. I read just the title. So let's see what sort of short we can get from this. So let's just run this thing. Let's say Python 3 script.py. And here we have it. Let's see what we got. Okay, we actually got some like intro animation. Cut to Dr. Lance B. Elliott's image. I guess that's someone who was mentioned in the actual article. Hey there, YouTube viewers. It's time for another exciting episode of True AI Breakthroughs. Today we have some fascinating news coming out of Silicon Valley. Okay, so this is a little bit more complicated of a narration that I wanted. I want just the narration with none of these extra things in here. But actually, this looks promising. Narrator. So here's the scoop. Recently, a column published in Forbes has shed some light on the possibility of artificial general intelligence, or true AI, becoming a reality sooner than we think. That's pretty good, actually. But then we have cut to ethically themed visuals. What does that mean? But hold on a second. Before we get too excited, we need to consider the ethical implications of this AI revolution. Should companies like OpenAI share their breakthrough with the public, or is it better kept under lock and key? Okay, now I will actually save this in a file because I think this might be useful. We might actually want to do some like fine-tuning to actually generate a YouTube short script generator. But let's just call this narration1.text. And I'll just paste this in here. Now, actually, when I think about it, this might be the kind of format we want, because we do have the narrator here every time. So it actually doesn't change who is speaking here. So it's always the narrator. So we could generate this kind of content first, and then we could generate basically the images based on these things. But now the question is, do we get a similar formatting every time? I'm guessing not. So let's just run this again and see what is the next version. Okay, actually, we did get a similar result. So since ChatGPT wants to generate this kind of thing, then could we actually include that in the system message and maybe modify it a little bit? So what if I add a couple new lines and I say something like, respond in the following format. And I'll actually make this a multi-line string, so it will be a little bit easier to comprehend what is going on here. So what if we say that we will have description of background image, and then we actually might say narrator, and they say something. A few sentences of narration. And could we just say repeated until the end of the short? And let's say you generate 30 seconds to 1 minute of narration. And maybe we could explain that the shorts you create have a background that fades from image to image as the narration is going on. Let's do that and let's see what kind of response we get. I'm hoping it's basically the same thing, but we don't have this like outro or end screen. It would just have the description of what should be in the image. Okay, so this was a complete failure. So we did not repeat it. We only did it once. Now I guess we could send multiple requests and then it would create the next part of the narration. But let's actually change the system message. Now, one thing I could do is I could just repeat this thing a few times. And if I now run this, it will probably work. But perhaps it will then always make this many parts in the narration, which I'm not sure if we want that. Okay, so now actually we got what I wanted. And is it in fact, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And how many times did I put it in the system message? A lot of times. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in fact. But okay, let's continue with this. Now, would be kind of easier to create like a JSON output. So it would be easier to parse. But I'm afraid if I use a JSON output, then it will affect what it actually generates. So I want to use the format it wants to use, because I guess it has been trained on some material like this. But if I try to create my own JSON format, then I think there will be some degradation of the actual quality of the content. So let's try to parse this thing and create the speech. So let's create a new file, narration.py. And what are we going to do here? Let's just define a function. Let's call it create. And this will take the narration, which will be in the format that we generate here. And how do we do this? I'm guessing these are both a single line. So technically we could like split this with 2 new lines, but I'm afraid that sometimes it will add a paragraph break in one of these things, but maybe not. Let's see. That is the easiest thing we can do at the moment. So let's say paragraphs is going to be narration.split at a new line. And then we can say for paragraph, in paragraphs, we are going to do what? So first of all, let's just strip the paragraph. So let's say paragraph equals paragraph.strip. And of course, there should be 2 new lines. So I strip it just in case there's an extra new line or something in there. And then if these are just 2 lines, then I guess we just split this with the new line again. Although we could also split it like with the ending square bracket. Let's actually do that. So let's say parts equals paragraph.split, and we're going to split with this. Now, is there a limit in split? Can I limit this? For some reason, I do not have any auto-completion here. So we'll just split it with that. and hope that there are no extra square brackets. So then the description or the background is going to be parts 0, and the narration is going to be parts 1. Now, of course, in the narration, we will actually say narrator like this. So we have to remove that part. And of course, we can't use narration here. Let's just call it text. And I guess that this will always have the same thing in the beginning. So this is how many letters? 11 letters. So basically, we could just say 11 and a colon. So we should take 11 characters out from the beginning. Or we can just do replace narrator. Not the best solutions here, but just to try it out, we can start with this. So then we should have the background and the text. So let's actually print background is going to be the background. And let's print the text, which will be the text. And I am going to remove the first character from the background because we will have the starting curly brace. Now we might have this background image here as well, but I'm not sure if it will add this every time. And I don't think this will matter. I mean, I guess we can just, again, replace it and get rid of it. So we can do that. Replace background image with nothing. I forgot to add that. So we had an empty string, of course. And it was this way. Okay, let's see if this works. Let's actually import this in our script. So we can say import narration. And then we can just say down here, print. Actually, we are printing it already, so we can just say narration.create. And we give it the content. So let's see if this is now formatted this way that we are defining in our narration. So Python 3 narration, Python 3 script. Okay, so we did not get the correct thing. List index out of range. So parts does not have 1, which means that we actually added 2 new lines between all of these paragraphs, just like I had in my actual system message. So this was actually wrong. It shouldn't be this way. There should be another new line here if it follows the system message. So let's change to a completely different approach. I will just split the narration with a new line. And this is going to be the lines. And we are going to do for line in lines. And we are going to say if line starts with narrator, and we have to do this way, then we are going to do this. Text equals that, but it is in fact not parts 1, it is going to be line. And else if the line starts with this one, then the background is going to be this one. And again, it is not parts 0, it is line. And I can see that we actually used here just background. So I will replace that as well. Although it might not matter if we have this in the prompt that we send to DALL-E. Might be even beneficial. So I'll actually leave it. Whatever. We're just going to strip out this part. And then we don't have to do any of this. We can just actually print them here, like this. So let's try it again. And look at this. We actually got what we wanted. Although I forgot to strip the ending square bracket. But we have a background description of a background image. Okay. ChatGPT, what are you doing? So it literally answered with description of a background image. Amazing. So let's update our system message and let's actually do background equals line 1 to -1. Or just line strip. And I guess we can pass in here these. Okay, let's add to our system message that you should add a description of a fitting background image in between all of the narrations. It will later be used to generate an image with AI. And should I separate out this format, but will it then actually add these into the response? But it doesn't matter because we only take the lines that include this in the beginning or this in the beginning. So whatever it adds, we don't care. Let's try one more time. And here it is. Now, we actually added description of a background image, but then we have the description here. But at least we parsed it correctly now. So what we can do next is we can generate the actual narration. That's what we were going to do. So this is actually going to be parse. This will parse the narration. And let's say that the output is a list. And we will just add to the list output.append. And let's add like a dictionary. Let's call this type text. And let's say content is going to be the text. And then here we are going to add an image. And content is background. Or should we call this description? Let's do like that. And then we are just going to return output. And then what we can do is we can say create. And this will take the output, but it should only take the text from it because we only want to narrate the text. So what should I call this thing? Let's just call it data. That is a very good name for a variable. And we can say for element in data, if element dot type is not is not text, then we are going to continue. Otherwise, we are going to append this to the narration. So let's say narration plus equals element dot content. And we can have here a narration, which is a string. And after we have gone through all of this data, we should have just the narration. And I'm going to add also 2 new lines here. And then we can pass this into the text-to-speech API of OpenAI. So let me check from my previous project, which is here. And we have text-to-speech. And here we have test.py. So here's how we can use the text-to-speech API. So we create the audio with the input, and we set the model to this and the voice to Alloy, and then we stream it to a file, and then we play the sound and we remove the audio. Because I didn't find a direct play method from this audio. So that's why I do it like this. So let's copy this stuff and let's put it here. And the input is of course going to be the narration. And let's put it to audio and let's stream it there and let's play it and then let's remove it. And we have to import some stuff, which are these imports. So now we should be able to create the narration. But actually what we have to do is we have to parse it first and then we have to create it from the parsed content. So let's do that. So let's say down here that the data is narration.parse. And then let's say audio equals narration.create. Now actually we are just playing it. So we should actually save this. So I'll actually pass in here an output file. And we are only going to save it into the output file. Then we can play it afterwards. So we don't have to include play sound right now or OS. So let's just do that. So we're going to create from the data a narration to narration.mp3. And of course, this doesn't return anything. So let's just do that. And let's see if we can create a narration. And I forgot that dictionaries are not addressed this way. So we have to say element type. And this is of course also element content. So let's try again. Now, one thing we have to consider here is that how long is the audio? Because I'm not sure how well ChatGPT knows how long it takes to narrate the script it creates. So let's see. All right. It has been run, so we should now have a narration.mp3 here. And it is 1 minute 42 seconds. So this is a bit of a problem. But let's listen to this. I still haven't figured out how to record the audio from my computer as I am taking a video, so I have to turn my microphone again to my speaker.
Generative AI has come a long way, but it still has its limitations. Current AI relies on existing information to generate content based on specific prompts. However, recent talks suggest that we may be closer than ever to achieving true artificial general intelligence, or true AI. Dr. Lance B. Elliott, an AI expert, has written a composition discussing OpenAI's Q-SAW project and the potential breakthrough in reaching true AI. While there is still much progress to be made, the possibility of AI surpassing human intelligence in various fields is within reach. However, the advent of true AI presents ethical concerns. Should companies like OpenAI share their breakthrough with the public, or are they justified in keeping it to themselves?
Okay, so how do we solve this issue that it is too long? I should probably first of all save the narration so I can actually see how many paragraphs it generated. So let's say that this is the narration, or actually it's just the data. And I can't say narration because I have a narration module. So let's just call it response text. And response text is that. And let's just do with open response.text in write mode as f.write response text. And let's also write the data. So let's say data.json, and let's say json.dump the data into the f, and let's import JSON. So how many paragraphs should we add here? Let's remove at least a couple of these, and let's try again. Okay, that was a lot faster. Let's see what we did. We have the narration, and now it is 38 seconds.
Generative AI has long been limited in its capabilities, lacking original or abstract thought. But recent discussions suggest that we may be closer to achieving artificial general intelligence, or true AI, than previously thought. OpenAI's Q project is said to have made a breakthrough, potentially surpassing human intelligence in various fields. However, there are ethical concerns regarding the release of true AI to the public and its potential misuse if it falls into the wrong hands. While true AI may solve complex problems and improve processes, questions remain about whether society is ready for its advent.
Okay, now that actually was a pretty good narration, but the voice is not good. So I think I have to change to 11 Labs because they have a lot better voices. But I think my subscription has ended already. Let me check. And I really don't want to pay $20 in order to make a video where I will probably make $2. Yeah, so actually I have 10,000 characters. So how long is the narration? 700 characters. Okay, so maybe we can just use the free version. So let's pick a better voice and let's change to 11 Labs. So we have the voice library here. And I think I've saved some of my favorite voices here. So let's actually listen to these.
We have committed the golden rule to memory. Let us now commit it to life.
Okay, that sounds pretty good actually.
Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself.
Okay, how about Michael?
The biggest room in the world is room for improvement.
Okay, I'm going to use Michael. So let's see how this 11 Labs API works. Again, I have a previous project that I have used this in. So let's code /AI podcast. And what do we have here? We have audio.py. It is probably in there. Yeah, so basically we import from 11 Labs all of these things and we set the API key and then we send the request with this generate. So let's do that. Let's go to our narration and I want to still keep this OpenAI version, so I will add like a global variable here. Narration API. And let's set this to 11 Labs. And let's add here or OpenAI. And if we are using OpenAI, if narration API equals OpenAI, then we are going to do this. Otherwise, we are going to do something else. So let's import all this stuff. Now we might not need the rate limit error in this case, but let's put all these in here. And then we have to call generate and we have to set the API key. So let's do that. And let's do it like this. And of course I have to set it. So I have to say export 11 Labs API key. And I have to get my API key. And it is now added to my environment. So then we can call generate. So basically we have to do this, and then we have to save it. So let's do that. Let's go to narration, and let's say this, and let's say save audio into output file. And let's pick the voice, which was Michael. And the text is going to be the narration. All right, so that should work now, and we should be using 11 labs for this. So let's run it again, and let's see how this sounds. I have to import OS. Okay, now it has been generated, hopefully with 11 labs. But again, we are over a minute, but let's listen to this.
AI, or artificial intelligence, has come a long way in recent years. However, it still has its limitations. AI relies on existing information to generate content based on prompts. But could we be on the verge of a true breakthrough? According to AI expert Dr. Lance B. Elliott, OpenAI's Q** project may be a step closer to achieving artificial general intelligence, or true AI. The potential implications are profound. But the advent of true AI raises ethical questions. Should companies like OpenAI share their breakthroughs with the public, or keep them to themselves?
Okay, I think this is a better narration voice. Now, there are lots of voices that we can choose from, so maybe this is not the best possible one, but still, I think it's pretty good. So the next step would be to generate the background images. So let's try and do that. So I think I will create another module now, and I will call this images.py, for example. And let's see how the images API worked. So I'm going to code again from GPT November 2023. And what do I have here? We have DALL-E 3, and we have create image. So basically, this is what we have to do. So let's just copy this thing and go to our images.py. And I will change this to the new version, because actually we are supposed to do this now, and then client equals OpenAI. So let's do that. And this has to be then client images generate. So let's just call this generate, and this will be the prompt. And let's just do that. And the prompt will be this. And we get it as a URL, but actually we want to save it on the computer. So is there like a response format? We have B64JSON. So let's set that. Response format B64JSON. And I forgot how this is formatted. So let's actually go to the platform openai.com and API reference, and let's search for images. And how did this work? Where can I find the actual format? So they don't actually seem to have the format here right now, but I have used it at some point. So let's see. Find type F exec grep li b64 JSON. And let's see if we can actually find. What am I doing? Just grep. And probably just find from name.py. All right. I have used it in somewhere here. Okay. DALL-E 3 in my GPT-4 V testing. Okay, well, I actually have exactly that function here, so I will just copy this. So the response format will have this B64 JSON, and then we can decode that one. And I think that is exactly the image. I'm not sure why they call it JSON, because it's literally just the image source in base 64. And yeah, so I can just do this in here. And I guess we can just say output file. And we have to import base 64. So now we can generate an image and save it into a file. So in our script, we have to generate the actual script, generate the audio, and then we have to generate the images. So let's do something like if not OS path exists images, then os.make dears images. And let's import OS. And then let's do for element in data. Or should I put this inside of the images.py? Let's add here create from data. And we pass in the data. And then here we're going to do for element in data if element type is not image, then we continue. But if it is an image, then we are going to say generate element description. And let's put it into images slash, and I guess we should use OS path something, I forgot what it's called. Import OS path dot join images and image name, let's call it. And let's say that the image number is 0, and here we are going to say image number plus equals 1, and image name is going to be image and image number. And let's add JPEG. Actually, these are WebP images. So this should create all of the images for that short. So then in our script, we can just say, we can actually move this inside of the images. And then we can say images dot create from data. And we can import images. So now we should also have the images after we have created all of this. Now I probably should just test it with the data I have already created, but I trust in my skills because of course I never make mistakes in my videos. Like everything is just first. Because of course I never make mistakes in my videos. These are all just first try attempts. So let's cd back into my Shortrocity and let's run python 3 script.py. And let's actually go and take a look. Do we have an images folder? We do. But do we get the actual images in there? We got image number 1. So this looks like that. So this is how our short should start. Now, unfortunately, you can't create like vertical images with DALL-E 3, but actually I do want to like move around the image in the background. So perhaps it still has to be a bigger image. But we are actually now creating all of these images. Here's another one, which looks pretty cool. And this one is cool as well. And what is the 4th image? Whoa, that's pretty nice. So did we do everything already? Yes, it has been finished. So now we have images to use in our short. And we have the narration. So now we just have to put all of these together and create an actual video. But that will be another video because this video is getting too long. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see that one. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.